Hey guys, what's up and welcome back to another video. So in today's video, it's just going to be a brief introduction to supervised learning. So if you haven't subscribed to my channel, make sure to subscribe to my channel and stay till the end of the video so you can get something out of this video. So let's just get started. So as you can see, machine learning is a very widely talked about topic. It's a topic that's talked about frequently, and it's one of my favorite topics to teach, talk about. And I decided to make the third episode of supervised learning. So let's just get started. So this video is just going to be pretty basic. It's not going to be in depth of algorithms and all, but I'm just going to be trying to explain it as simple as possible. And so I will have this model right here that you're looking at, and I will also have another image that I found online, which is pretty helpful because it helped me understand. And so I'm going to teach some basics to you guys. So first, some things we need to know about this model. Let's think of this model right here as a machine to make our process or our learning more easier. I'm going to put machine for our name, right? Because we think of this as a rice machine or something, that can identify. So this is the image recognition, right? Image recognition. So we are trying to identify if this picture is a cat or a dog. So if you think about it, for a human, it's really easy to identify if it's a cat or a dog, but for a computer, it takes a lot of training and data sets to actually achieve the result to determine if it's a dog or a cat. So let's just work through this along the way. So we are going to figure out. So we are taking this cat, and it's going through the input. So the input is the data going into our machine right here. So it went in, and that's the input. And now the image of the cat is traveling right through to the algorithm area. Now this is where the computer takes in bits and pieces of the data that will later be used in the machine to identify whether if it's a cat or a dog. So for example, we will take its pixels or pixels and color variations and the RGB values to get a full image and see what that image is really meaning and how can it completely figure out if it's a cat or a dog. So in our machine, our cat is traveling through another thing called dataset. Now after algorithm, it goes to dataset. So dataset is the set of data that it has already been fed into. So it's usually called data feed or something. So data feed. So this is the place where usually the data has already been fed into. You already have pictures of cats, dogs, and cats and dogs, right? So using these images, this picture of the cat will be used will be compared with other pictures like these dogs and cats to identify if it really adjusts with the value of cat or dog. So now, let's say that the computer goes to the processing, and it does a lot of binary and all to process its information and figures out that this image is a cat for the output. So it brings through this step, it brings to the output and figures out it's a cat. So now our model is accurately updated and it's accurate, right? So now our output is a cat. So let's say we have a 91% error rate. Now I will explain to you what that means. So with the 91% of data that is being stored, this is the accuracy rate of this machine. So 91% of the time it is accurate, but the other 9% of the times it's not. So let's say that it was 91% and this image is accurately being identified as a cat, then the accuracy percentage gets a little higher each time. But let's say for some reason our machine detects that since it's not perfect, it detects that it is a dog. Then the supervisor, this is why it's called supervised learning, the supervisor, through this area, through the algorithms and the data training set, the supervisor will make sure the image comes back and then reprocesses its way throughout to get the final output until it reaches the output as a dog. So this is a pretty simple example that I'm pretty sure you guys should be able to understand. If you can't, I have another image to help you guys out. So this image is one of my favorite. I found off online, but guess what? It really helps. So let's work through this one. So we have raw input data. So the data usually I like to call variables. I'm just going to put var for now. So variables are basically data. So data, for example, in this case we have apples, and that's the data that's going into our input. Now let's see. So now let's say that one of these apples, so for example this apple, goes into the algorithm. So the algorithm has subdivisions in part with the algorithm. So first it goes through the training data set, for example, like a bunch of other apple images that it has already been trained with. It goes through the supervisor to make sure it's on the right track, the apple is on the right track, and then the desired output. So basically, it's as the supervisor intends, like he or she checks if the machine learning algorithm works properly, and then we go back as a cycle, and then as a cycle, and then we go back to the algorithm. Now for the processing, this is where all the processes happen. For example, we take all the information from here, and then it's usually not always binary, but using all the weights and all the hidden data, and using this information to determine the output is going to be resulting into the output. So finally, our robot figured out it's an apple. So over here, if you take a look at here, it says model trained. So all these information that's been going through, the computer will take the image of the apple along with the processes of how it took to reach its answer. For example, if you do like a math problem, you need like a step, like in high school, usually the teachers ask you for work or they won't give you credit, like that is what is being applied here. You need the work, and using that work, the machine will learn more and it will be more accurate in determining whether if it's an apple or not. So I think that's just the basics of this supervised learning. So in my next video, I'm going to be talking about unsupervised learning, and we're just going to get briefs of it. So if you do need any help or if you have any questions, let me know in the comments below. I will try my best to answer all those questions. And so yeah, so thank you guys for watching.